Boss, tell us about what the broker of brokers, which is you, can do to help the property industry in the UK.
Well, first of all, you have to ask what the broker of brokers is. The broker of brokers is a brand in my image, and that image was one of a deal maker. Deal makers first. That's the forte of the broker of brokers. But in doing deals, you have to empower. You have to come away with things. So the property industry needs the broker of brokers to come in and train their people. We don't see ourselves as trainers per se, but to come in and talk to their best people to get them to another level. We've done this anyway with a lot of other businesses and property business.
Don't mention any names. I know off the record you've given me some big names that you've worked with, but what have you actually done for property businesses, estate agents, commercial agents, with their people?
Well, first of all, you have to observe what they're doing before you can make any comments. You have to look at their model, you have to look at their system, you have to go out with them on a listing and see what they're doing on the listing. You have to look at their sales progression and see how they're closing the deals. You have to see what their relationships are like with solicitors. For example, if they say, oh, well, we believe in paying our solicitors, or our solicitors recommending and paying the solicitors, I don't agree with that. That's a conflict of interest. Being good is enough. So we'll look at that element of it. We'll look at the social media element to make sure that that's implemented properly, because from what I can see, they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a handle on what social media should be done, how you're doing it.
What should good social media look like?
Well, the fundamental aspect is it should be done in a branding way, but it should also be, I mean, we have been in talks with some major online and offline players who have sort of are talking to us, and as you said, some big names. And they've understood that our culture needs to come into their culture. So the crossovers, because people like to be recommended to someone, but they need to be recommended from a character, something that's going to spark off some interest and get results.
Interesting, you're very much on a personal brand. Do you think estate agents should go down that route of pushing their people as much as their logo and their font and their brand?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they need to say, look, you are, although you're part of our branding process, you also may be allowed to have your own opportunities to grow as well and evolve. And I think this is a way of motivating people and letting them explode and perform better.
Okay, let's just say this a really cracking good lister or value or branch manager watching this in the estate agency game who feels they're being held back by their bosses. What can they do to improve their personal brand?
Well, first of all, they have to have a difficult conversation.
With themselves?
With themselves, but then with the people involved. And they have to ask themselves a question. What's going on? Where am I? Where do I want to go? Is this for... everyone talks about goals. Goals are not that important. Vision. So you have a big vision, so a big picture, and then you say to yourself...
It's almost like your why of what your future holds, the journey.
Exactly. And they have to ask themselves a question about that. After that, then there needs to be some implementing of strategy.
It's interesting, boss, because we had a chat a couple of years ago, just as I started doing these videos, and a lot of people ask me, why do I do these videos? Because, it costs me money to edit them, and it costs me my time. And I say it gets me no direct business, but it opens doors, and more importantly, I enjoy doing it. And I'm playing the long game. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is that by setting up a personal brand, you're not going to get instant results, and you need to work out what your why is, and then use branding to get you where you want to go on the journey.
Well, it's a little bit like two forms of gun. You can have a gun that shoots and then you've shot, and that's the bullet gone. You either hit the target or you don't. And then the next level is you fire something else, and this is sort of slowly morphing to a point where it will hit, but it takes time. Can you visualize that?
Slow motion.
It's like a slow motion sort of spray coming. And that's it. So the point is, most people are going bang, bang, bang. They're hitting a few shots, and that's it. I know another analogy is you could take a sniper shotgun as opposed to a machine gun, but that's not relevant to this conversation. This is taking it to another level.
Do you think estate agents trade too much on their company brand and not, as I said, the people? Coming back to what we were saying before.
Well, I think the first thing is there's the sort of why question and the involvement question, and the fact that, like anything else, the money side needs to be structured in a way that the company needs to have the time and the opportunity, and they need to look at their investments, and they need to also think to themselves, we're not afraid to encourage our people to grow as people as well. That will help the whole structure.
It comes down to almost a fear of bosses that they want to keep they don't want to train them too much or let them go because they might take over from their business and ruin their business. Is that a wrong sort of attitude?
Well, it's true that a lot of companies have said, what's the point of training people if they're going to leave us? So we're going to just get them as numbers. If someone's in a company for more than 2 years, all of a sudden they're a liability because you can't just get rid of them easily. That's why people are sort of having people for short time and they're moving on. No, you have to have more of a case of a team vision than us and them, employer, employee. You've got to sort of break those barriers down. I go into any office and I can immediately tell what the boss is like, even if they're not there. I can tell. If there's
Is that what you bring to the party when you advise agents and firms on their culture and how to grow?
Yeah, I'm not afraid to tell people, as I've done all my life, the real truth, what they need to know. And then, because it's coming from me, they don't need, a lot of people, they can watch this video and they say, oh, we've heard everything, now we don't need the broker of brokers. No. For us telling you means that we know. And for us to know, we can go to the next level, the next level, the next. So people need to implement the source. And the source is the fact that source will evolve it. So if someone comes up with something, they are the innovator of that, and then they can grow. Yes, you bring in other people with other skill sets as well. And we have those people in our teams. For example, we have big teams of financiers. We have big teams. We used to have a lot of solicitors. My issue with solicitors is they run hot and cold. I know I'm generalizing a little bit, but this is from experience. And everything I say is from experience. The fact that you have to stay hungry and you can't just start getting jealous, because a lot of solicitors saying, hold on, why is the agent earning that fee and we earn that? And then it now comes down to, for example, solicitors aren't earning the way they were with their hours. There needs to be a sort of a set fee. Obviously, there are other anomalies that will come up, so you've got to be ready to discuss those things. But fees seem to be a big factor for everyone.
Probably we could talk about that in the next video.
Sure.